Happy Sunday. Today we're going to be looking at Jermaine O'Neal's time with the Toronto Raptors. I know when you think of Jermaine O'Neal, you mostly think of the Indiana Pacers, or at least that's what I think of when I hear the name. And with the Raptors, you think of anyone who isn't Jermaine O'Neal. Uh, it's a really weird time in the Raptors' history. I mean, usually when you think of the Raptors, it's Chris Bosh, it's Vince Carter. For some people, it's DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. Going forward, it will probably end up being Pascal Siakam and Norman Powell. But for a brief time, well, for the briefest of time, in 2008, 2009, that season they did. Um, the Raptors were in the playoffs the previous two seasons, which is huge because at that time the Raptors were not making the playoffs, losing in both rounds once to the Brooklyn Nets, who I believe were still in New Jersey at the time, the other time against the Orlando Magic, winning a total combined of 3 games in those two playoff series. And the Brass was going, man, we might have a chance to do something. We need someone to get us over the hump. We have Chris Bosh. If we don't get something to get Chris Bosh, he's probably going to leave in free agency. And they desperately wanted to keep Chris Bosh around. So they traded for Jermaine O'Neal. Now, that doesn't make a lot of sense in hindsight. You could see what they were doing. Jermaine O'Neal at that point was a 6-time All-Star. He's been a All-NBA second team, All-NBA first team. So you know what? He's available. We're going to trade for him. He's a good player. We will make sure we get him, and we'll keep him around, and we'll keep him around for Chris Bosh. He'll work great in our front court, brings big demanding. He's been an all-defensive team before. He'll do a lot of things here. And it didn't work out. Jermaine O'Neal only played 41 games before being shipped off for the elusive cap space to the Miami Heat. This was at the start of the season as well. This trade happened, so it's not one of those trades that happen. Well, it's the end of the year. We'll trade out some veteran players. We'll get some assets. We might have to take a bad contract or two to get them. Maybe guys, going the other way. Maybe he's not going to resign, but we'll take a flyer on some guys. Maybe someone will play here for a couple of games. Maybe he'll like the city. Yada yada yada. No, they did this to try to make the playoffs. The year before that, they were third in the Atlantic. This year, they finished 14th. They were 14th in the East. At the time of the trade, when they traded into Miami, they were 13 games below 500. Any and all hope of them making the playoffs were below. It was nothing. Like I said, he only played 41 games. A lot of those games he were injured. The season before that, he played 12 years in the league. Only 6 of those seasons, he actually played more than 65 games. So, looking back, you can see why the Pacers traded him. He's a good player when healthy, but when he wasn't healthy, he was a liability. He missed a lot of games, put up great numbers, but you can do really well in something and be the best at something 60% of the time. But it's the other 40% of the time when you're not up the hill or you're out or you can't play. You can't win games if you're not on the court and if you have a lot of money. And the Raptors were kind of wanting to keep their fan base. They were in the playoffs the first 2 years, but before that, they were in the playoffs for about 8 and 9 years before that. And the couple years before that, they had lost Vince Carter. So, and they were worried about losing Chris Bosh for nothing. So Jermaine O'Neal was brought in to try to keep Bosh happy. Try to get Bosh there a little while longer. But man, they shit the bed. The year before that, they were 6th in the conference, 2nd in the Atlantic. That season, they went from 6th to 13th in the conference, 4th in the Atlantic. The year before that, they were 3rd overall and 1st in the Atlantic. Now, I remember the Atlantic being super weak at that time. But so in the years before that, that was 2006, 2007, they were 3rd in the Atlantic. When they lost the Nets, who were still in New Jersey, they lost, to believe it or not, Vince Carter and the New Jersey Nets. That still stings a little. The year right before that, they were 6th in the conference, 2nd in the Atlantic, where they lost to the Magic. The years before that, they were 12th, 10th, and 14th. Before 2002, 2001 being a seventh round team squeaking into the playoffs. So you can kind of see they had to do something to appease their fan base. At the time, I believe the ownership was still trying to put a fit. Well, we'll run this like we run a hockey team. We'll bring players in. Try to bring these big names in. They'll be great, and we'll win, and it'll be great. But it just didn't work. They went from sixth in the Eastern Conference to 13th. That's almost twice as bad. It's actually over twice as bad. If it was twice as bad, they'd be 12th. They were 13th. They were 13 games below 500 at the All-Star break. They traded them to Miami. I mean, I'm not super upset. I would want to get, you want my honest opinion, I'd rather spend my winters in beautiful Miami than cold Toronto, and I'm a huge Raptors fan. In his 41 games, he only started 34 of them. He put up 13 points a game. Nowhere near his career, nowhere near his best year in Indiana. But then again, his best year in Indiana, he was putting up 24 points a game. So you get it. And they just had to trade him. Ending the oddest experiment in Raptors history, the oddest year. I remember when this happened, when they traded for him. They were saying this could really help Bosh, and it did. It takes a lot of pressure off Bosh. They were saying it could be the Twin Towers. Yeah, if he stayed healthy, they could have been, but he didn't. And if the Raptors scouting staff knew that, hey, this guy has a history of injuries, which he did. Like I said, I think he played out of his 12 seasons in the NBA at that time. He only played 81 games once, so a full season. His highest total besides that was 70, 77, 78. He was injured often, injured a lot. The All-Star break, he was injured. They got something for him. And at that point, you're thinking, they don't right this ship, they're going to lose Bosh, which they did. Bosh eventually went to Miami. Not to join Jermaine O'Neal, but to join Dwayne Wade and LeBron. But that was Jermaine O'Neal's odd time with the Toronto Raptors. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to get more great content like this, and you all have a great day. Bye.